Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. I'm your host, Amy Beltran, CEO and founder of Irresistible University. I'm a confidence coach here to help you love yourself, to drop the body image issue so you can lose the emotional weight and gain the confidence to look and feel irresistible at any size. All right, guys, today I am going to be talking with you about using busy as an excuse when it comes to losing weight and embarking on the Irresistible You journey. Now, I hear this all the time in my community, my free community. I hear this from my existing students. I was guilty of doing this all the time back in the day. And to be honest with you, there's even times now where I find myself sometimes slipping into the I'm too busy mindset, but I know how to get back out of it a lot quicker than I did in the past, right? So I'm just going to be really blunt with you real quick. Let's just get this out of the way right here at the very beginning. Stop using busy as an excuse. That's right. Stop using busy as an excuse. Now, before you're like, blah, 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 I am busy. I have this and I have that and hear me out, because if that was where your mind went and you got super defensive, you definitely want to listen to the rest of this episode, okay? Because here's the deal. My job is not to coddle you and tell you, oh, yes, girl, I get it. I know. It's okay that you're too busy. It's okay that you're too busy to lose your weight and to, get on the Irresistible You journey and start feeling good about yourself and feeling confident. It's okay. That's not my job. My job as a confidence coach is to hold a mirror up to you, up to your habits, up to your mindsets, up to your behaviors, to help you realize that those mindsets and behaviors are what is actually holding you back, right? Because if I just come here and I tell you it's okay and you don't need to change and I know we're all busy, like, you're never going to actually change, right? Because then I'm just one more person in the mix that's just patting you on the back and telling you it's amazing to be busy, right? So here's the bottom line. We are all actually busy at times and seasons in our life. And that is not what I'm talking about today, right? We have periods and seasons of life where we are busier than other times. What I am talking about today is when we are too busy and it starts to become a cop-out when it comes to prioritizing other things in your life. So if you're constantly using the phrase, oh, I'm just so busy, well, I'm too busy, I could never do that because I'm too busy. Like, if that's your mentality and those are the things you're constantly finding are coming out of your mouth, this episode is definitely for you. So, I want to ask you a question, and obviously I cannot hear your answer right now, so I want you to just answer this question as you're listening to this, wherever you're listening to, be it your car, your house, whatever. What is your absolute favorite TV show? Do you have a favorite series? Do you have a favorite show? Is it on Netflix? Is it on Hulu? Is it Amazon Prime? Is it on live cable TV? Like, what is your, most favorite TV show that you have to see? Okay? Hopefully you had time to think about that and answer it. And now, it's kind of a trick question, because if you answered that question and if you answered it really quickly, you are not too busy. See, we make time in our life for what matters to us. Whatever is of importance to us, we will find a way to sneak in the time, to create the time, to make the time to do it. And even if that means sacrificing something else, be it sleep or another activity. So if you have a favorite show and you're sacrificing going to bed late, I've even heard of people waking up 2 hours early just to watch TV, which don't even get me started on that. That means you are not too busy to prioritize you. And I'm pretty sure that if you have a favorite show and you were able to answer that question, I bet you never forget to watch your favorite show. Am I right? So I want you to really think about that, because being busy all the time and saying that you're too busy to do things, busy is not a badge of honor. And somewhere that became a thing that, especially as women, that we feel like we need to always, oh, I'm so busy. I got this and I got that and I got this and I got that. And somewhere along the way also, that came into place, especially like I said, for women, because you thought that being busy or too busy made you feel important. Being busy makes you feel wanted, makes you feel needed. And most of all, it makes you feel loved. Because if all these people are depending on you and you're busy and you're, committing to all the activities and volunteering for all the things, you're putting that on yourself. And if you're doing that and committing to the activities and volunteering and signing up for all these things, but then you complain about how tired and frazzled and busy you are all the time, right? So how many times do you jump in to offer your help or do something for someone and they didn't even ask you for your help, but you have this need to help them and feel like you have to fix it because maybe that's going to get them to love you or like you or need you or want you. Do you see what I'm saying? So you got to stop that shit first and foremost, right? There's nothing wrong with helping people, but there's a problem when you are offering to help people and you're overbooking yourself and then you are the last person on your list. That is a huge problem. Huge. Right? So I want you to go back and listen to the episode I did. It's a few episodes back around victim mindsets, because I'm sure that's going to be really helpful to you, because being busy as a badge of honor is in a form a victim's mindset, and we'll talk more about that. So just hang with me. But there's other mindsets in that episode that I think you need to listen to if this is something that's really hitting a nerve with you, right? So busy is a choice. Being too busy to put yourself first and to do the things that matter, such as your weight loss, your self-care, your sleep, your confidence journey, whatever it is, that self-care stuff, being too busy is a bullshit excuse. Because just like your favorite show, we will do the things we want to do, period. And, if you're constantly that's your go-to excuse, I want you to start noticing that. Because if you were anything like I was back in the day, I didn't realize I was doing the things that I did. I didn't realize I was using busy as an excuse. I didn't realize I had all these other victim mindsets. Okay? So busy is an addiction, just like using food to push down your emotions. Because as long as you stay busy, you don't have to deal with you. Right? So the minute you slow down and you sit still and it's just you probably feel super uncomfortable just sitting in your body and dealing with yourself without the distraction, without the shield, without the mask of busy, right? So then your nerves are popping and just coming out of your skin because you don't like sitting with you. You don't like the way your body feels. You don't like the way you are. You don't like the way that you feel about yourself. So then you're like, I just got to eat. I got to eat. I got to eat. I got to eat. I just got to get something sweet in my body right now. So then you go back and you turn to food to push down the emotions, to get rid of that icky uneasiness. And the mask of busy, the using food as a drug, binge eating, emotional eating, all of those things, being busy and using food to cope, both of those things boil down to one thing. You don't like hanging out with you. Yep. I know this might be hard to hear, but I need you to hear it because until you realize and start to admit that, yeah, maybe that is what's going on, you're just going to keep doing what you've always done, expecting different results and getting frustrated and then talking shit to yourself because you're not able to accomplish what you want to accomplish with your weight goals. And I see this all the time when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to binge eating. And I was that person too, right? So let me just give you this classic excuse. And I know that I have said this exact statement in some variation of it, probably obviously not the whole thing that I'm going to share. And I bet you have said this in some capacity too. And it goes like this. This is we're talking weight loss. When it comes to weight loss, and you're thinking, all right, so this episode is airing in July, so I'm just going to start with the next big holiday. July 4th holiday is this week, and, it's on a weekday, but, that usually takes up the whole weekend, and we're going to be out of town, and there's barbecues, and we're going to be having drinks and desserts and going out to eat, so I'll just have to start Monday. And then, Monday starts, and, in 3 weeks from Monday, that's actually my birthday. So, once my birthday comes, I'm probably going to blow it, not just that night, but the entire weekend and probably the whole week. So maybe I'll just get started August 1st. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll start August 1st with my diet plan. All right, so August comes around and everything's good, but then, there's summer parties and there's pool parties. And then you say, if you have kids or you're in school, you're like, well, it's back to school season. So, we're going to be busy shopping and getting ready and all that kind of stuff, and then when school starts in September or late August, we're just going to be super busy with the kids and schedules and drop offs and this kind of thing. So I'm not going to have time to cook and worry about my meals. Right. And then, all right, so maybe we'll get started. And then it's Labor Day. Yeah, then other barbecues and food. So then maybe I'll get started October 1st. Yeah. October 1st. That works. Well, in my world, October is a big month. So I would say, oh man, my husband's birthday is in October, and then it's going to be our daughter's birthday, a week and a half after that. Oh man, then it's our wedding anniversary. And the day after our wedding anniversary, it's Halloween. October is not a good time right now. There's just too much going on. I'm going to be too busy, and there's too much going on to worry about losing weight right now. So we'll just get started in November. Oh yeah, that's good. November 1st. That works. Wait. Oh yeah. Towards the end of the month, that's Thanksgiving and Black Friday. And I don't just overeat on Thanksgiving. I'm going to take home all the leftovers and I'm going to just eat the entire weekend while I'm sitting on my couch shopping all the sales. Oh, man. All right. Oh, yeah, December 1st. All right, cool. December 1st comes around. You're like, all right, cool. You're like, wait a second. We're like smack dab in the holiday season. My Christmas tree is up. The stores are selling all the things. There's already cakes and cookies being delivered to my house, and I'm making treats for people. I've been invited to 5 different holiday parties. There is no way I am ever going to start a diet on December 1st. That's just crazy town. And there's no way it's going to happen for New Year's because we're going to be drinking all the champagne, and that's just not going to happen either. So you know what? January 1st it is. Cool. So then January comes around. And you get on the diet train with all the rest of the country. You're at the gym, there's lines at the treadmill, you're hitting up all the, the places to get your healthy food, you're doing okay. Then January, let's say there's a work event, there's a party, there's something. There it goes again. So you're like, well, I'll just start in February. Then February comes around. And then it's like, oh, all the Valentine's Day candy, I just need to eat chocolate, I want to eat my big chocolate heart, and my truffles and yada da da da. And then it's like, all right, here's March. And then guess what? Spring break is here. Why am I still fat and miserable? Holy shit. It's hot outside. Holy shit. Bathing suits are here. Holy shit. It's too hot to wear pants and I don't want to put shorts on. Holy shit. How did I let this happen again? Once again, I went an entire year telling myself I was going to start over on Monday. I was going to start over on the beginning of the month. And all I did was waste time making these fake promises to myself and telling myself how busy I was, how it wasn't the right time, and how there was too much going on in my life because I'm so important. I can't do this unless everything is perfect in my life. Whew, that was long. That was long, y'all. And I did that on purpose. I want you to see how absolutely ridiculous it all sounds. But we've all done it and we've all said it. Like, raise your hand right now. Not if you're driving. Like, raise your hand if you have done this before. Right? We keep putting ourselves off. We keep putting off our weight loss. We keep putting off getting confident and feeling good about ourselves because we're like, there's this going on and that going on, and I just can't do it right now. Bullshit. They're all excuses. Right? So I hope that was helpful to kind of illustrate how ridiculous it was. And I know that was kind of long, but you need to hear that because that's the chatter and the conversation that goes on inside of our heads. And that chatter and that conversation will never stop until you decide to tell it to stop. So let me go back in time for a minute again, too, and I have kind of another excuse. Oh, my God. Not an excuse. I have another example of something that I used to do, right? So I have been doing Weight Watchers since the days of carrying around that cardboard paper points slider where you matched up the calories, the fiber, the fat. I don't even remember all the things. Like, it was just like this little slider thingy, and you would write in a paper journal and you carried around your points books. There was one for points and one for the restaurants, and they came in this little discreet Weight Watchers pouch. And I used to keep it in the side pocket of my car. I never went anywhere without it. And back then, I can remember blaming how I blew it over the weekend. You know, I did good Monday through Friday afternoon, and then the weekend came and I blew it. And I blew it because I didn't have my tracker or my books with me at the party or at the pool party or at the event or at the club. I didn't have that with me. So that's why I blew it. And I would say things like, I wish there was just an easier way to do this. If it was just easier, I would be able to lose the weight. And you know, back then, like, if I look at now, that was just like a convenient excuse for me at the time, right? I'm too busy to figure out how to do it. I'm too busy to figure out how to eat the right things. I'm too busy to eat in moderation, which I should know how to do without having to have a book in my hand. I'm too busy to do that. So that's my excuse. And then fast forward to now, it is such a breeze compared to those analog paper days. I have the app. I can literally look up any food, any restaurant. I even have other apps that are non-Weight Watchers approved that have all of the other restaurants that aren't listed. There's blogs, there's hacks, there's, I even have a Fitbit that syncs up my steps and my workouts to my Weight Watchers tracker so I don't have to think about it. But you know what? Another honest moment with you guys. I have also found myself saying, I'm too busy for that. When back in the early 2000s, I would have killed to have something like that because that was my big excuse. And I made a commitment last week that I was going to track all of my food and all of my meals because I really need to get back to it, because if you're not tracking, you don't know what you're eating, right? And when you don't know what you're eating and you're taking a little here and you're taking a little there, well, that's how you start gaining back the weight, right? So I was like, nope, I'm going to get back on it. I'm going to track everything. And then guess what? I didn't do it. It's been a week and I still didn't do it. And I just found myself saying, I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I have a 2-year-old who's not sleeping right now. I have a house to take care of. I have a business to run. I have a dog to take care of. I'm trying to have some sliver of a life in between all these things. And the point of that is that with each level, with each season of your life, you'll find a way to make excuses. And most often, the most common excuse that we use is I'm too busy. How the hell am I too busy to open up my phone that I scroll social media 556 times a day? How the hell am I too busy to open up the WW app and put my food in there? Right? It takes like 10 seconds. So I admit, like, I was like, yep, I'm falling back into that too. I'm saying I'm too busy, which is bullshit. I'm not too busy. What I don't want to have to do is I don't want to have to put my shorts on and realize they don't zip. What I don't want to have to do is put my clothes on and feel embarrassed and humiliated at how much weight I've gained. What I don't want to do is feel sluggish and gross and tired because I'm eating food that isn't clean and healthy. I don't want to do that. So if I don't want to do that, I've got to take the time to do the thing that's going to help me not do that. Right? So this stuff is not going to magically stop and just go away until we get intentional about how we're choosing to spend our time. Until we choose how we're going to talk about spending our time. And so with that, I want to give you a couple of tips that you can use if you're noticing that being too busy is part of your problem. Now, number one is I want you to go do a time audit. What do I mean by that? We often say we're too busy, but yet we don't know how we're spending our time. And this is an activity I do all the time with my business when I find myself saying, well, I'm too busy to get to that project. But it's like, yeah, but how are you actually spending your time in the day? Do you really need to check Facebook 55 times in one day? Right? So what I want you to do is to figure out where and how you're spending your time. How productive are you in that time that you're actually working or doing something? So think about how many times a day do you slip down the rabbit hole? Like if you're at work, you're getting your stuff done. You're like, yeah, this is good. All right, I need a break. So you go to take a break and you do this this cycle. It's like the rabbit hole cycle is what I call it, where you're like, oh, let me check Facebook. Oh, cool. Let's see what's going on here. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I need to go check my Instagram. Oh, I want to see what's going on Twitter. Oh, let me go check the Google headlines for the day. And then you read something on the news and you're like, oh man, I want to Google that thing. Like I've never heard of that before. And next thing you know, it's like an hour has gone by and you're just rabbit holing with 55 tabs open on your computer. That is not productive, no matter what you do for a living. And there's an hour and a half or an hour of your time that you could be using for whatever else it is. So that's what I'm saying. Let's get real with ourselves. Let's figure out how busy are you actually? And you could just start jotting down what you're doing, the times, how much, and there's apps too. If you go on to Google, you can just Google time management, time counting apps or time management apps. There's a whole bunch of those that you can put on your computer or on your phone, and it will actually track the time that you're using and what you're doing. It's pretty cool. So number 2 is I need you to reframe your words, because I said earlier, we have to get intentional about how we're using our time, which is what I just talked about with doing the audit, but we also have to get intentional with how we talk about our time. So the next time that you start to spew out, I'm too busy for that, I want you to reframe the words that you're saying, okay? So instead of saying something like this, well, I'm too busy to focus on losing weight right now, I want you to say, losing weight isn't a priority for me right now. And then notice, how does that make you feel when you say it that way? If it feels icky, if it feels like it doesn't sit well with you, it feels like you're fighting against the words you just said, that's because you are using busy as the excuse. Because if you say it that way, it means that you actually really want to be doing that thing, but you're finding other things to distract you, right? Because ultimately, if we're always saying that we're too busy, we're actually saying that whatever the thing is doesn't matter to us right now. But if it does matter to you right now, then you've got to figure out how to make the time for it, right? So instead of saying, I'm too busy for ... you say, doing ... is not a priority at the moment. And see how that changes the way you feel. And if you're like, ooh, no, but it is a priority for me. All right, then prioritize it. Prioritize it, right? So number 3. Now, I have had students that enroll into my Irresistible You signature program when they were at their max limit for handling stress. I have a student in particular who she started the program. She was depressed. She was in the middle of a divorce. She was dealing with a family member with cancer and all kinds of other stuff going on. Most people would put themselves off and say, you know what, signing up right now is just not a good time. And she even thought that for a second. But that's the problem right there. If you are saying that you're busy and that you are doing things that make you feel like you're busy all the time, then you are exactly the one who needs support and accountability ASAP. Right? Because if you're constantly saying like, well, this isn't the right time, and you go back to the big spiel I did earlier about, well, it's going to be the 4th of July, and then it's going to be this, and then it's going to be that. You have been saying that it's not the right time as an excuse for years. Am I right? So let me ask you a question. When will it be the right time? Because nothing is ever going to feel perfect. We just have to make the decision to start. And I want you to picture yourself 6 months from now. How are you going to feel if nothing in your life the way it is right now changes? How are you going to feel about yourself if nothing in your life changes? If you made the decision to change, what would your life look like 6 months from now? Right? So you can't lose weight or go on a confidence journey to love yourself in a bubble with the perfect circumstances. Because number one, it doesn't exist. And let's say you did do that. And it's only going to last for so long because that perfect bubble is going to burst because that is real life. And nothing is ever going to feel perfect. So you have to learn how to make this a lifestyle change so you can navigate the good and the bad and the in-between without binge eating, without gaining weight because there was a barbecue, without spiraling into all the guilt and shame around your size and your weight and then not going and doing things because you feel like shit about yourself because you binge ate because it was a freaking holiday. You just cannot do these things in a bubble, right? So I really hope that you get this and you understand it, because if you keep saying you're too busy, if you keep saying now is not the right time, if you keep scratching yourself off of your to-do list at the end of the day, what is going to be left of you to give? Nothing. You're going to be tired. You're going to be frazzled. You're going to feel frumpy. You're going to feel dumpy. You're going to feel like shit about yourself. And the time that we're all here, it's going to pass anyways. But it's up to you. How are you going to use that time? What I don't want for you is to wake up one morning, 6 months from now, a year from now, 5, 10 years from now, and wonder, where did the time go? I don't want you to have regrets about your life and how you spent your time. And nothing is going to change the way you feel about yourself, your weight, and your body until you make a conscious decision to do something about it. Stop waiting for someone to save you. Stop waiting for someone to do it for you because they can't. I can't even do it for you. And to make that decision to do something about it doesn't mean you need all the answers. It doesn't mean you need to have all the dots connected and you have to have the perfect scenario in front of you. It just means you need to make a choice. And if after listening to this podcast, you realize like, oh yeah, I am guilty of being too busy. You now have an awareness that you didn't have 30 minutes ago. And with the awareness that you have, there comes a choice that you now have to take. I share this with you guys all the time. Once you know something, you have to stop making this is so hard to say, an excuse. Once you know something, you have to stop making it an excuse. Because once you know something, now you're making a choice. So now you're making a choice. So after listening to this podcast, if you're like, yeah, I'm guilty, I'm too busy, I'm using that as an excuse all the time, you either make a choice to keep doing what you're doing, spinning around on the yo-yo diet, body hate shame cycle, hamster wheel, driving yourself insane, waking up next year saying, holy shit, how was it hot again and I still haven't lost the weight? Or you make a decision that you need to try to do this a new way, in a different way, and that you're committed to the process. And I have the way that works. I know that it works. I know that it works because it works for me and it works for my students. And I want you to be able to experience what that feels like. I want you to be able to experience what it feels like to be in control of your life, of your choices, and the way you feel about your body. And to know how to navigate the days where you just feel like shit about yourself, because they're still going to happen. But you snap back a lot quicker than you do right now. So if you're like, yep, I'm taking that choice because I'm done with this like too busy bullshit, I want you to sign up for the free training. And when you sign up for the free training, once you submit your name and email, you're going to have an option to either watch it on demand right now at your own pace, but please finish watching it, or you'll have the option to attend live. So either way is fine. You just have to do which one works for your schedule. So that's really it, guys. Let's stop using busy as an excuse, because that's all it is. It's a shield. It's a distraction. It's a distraction from what you actually don't want to deal with, just like the food is something to distract you from your emotions that you don't want to deal with. And when the binge eating is gone, when the busy syndrome is gone, then what? You're left with you. And if you don't like I love hanging out with myself. Girl, I love it. Right? Like, I love to be around people. I love to party. I love to just have fun. But I also crave and love to be alone with myself. And I enjoy it. Like, my favorite thing is like when I have an Amy day and I go to the nail shop, I go get a spa pedicure with the mimosa. I go to my favorite sushi restaurant. I go shopping. And it's so nice. But you have to like being with yourself. And when you're booking your calendar up left and right and filling every possible minute and volunteering for all the things that you don't need to volunteer for, you're running away from you. And that's what we got to stop. So all I've said with love and respect, and I know that, getting to the other side is 110% possible for you, and I am here to help you do that if you choose to make that decision. So on that note, thank you guys for listening. If you like this podcast, please head over to iTunes and leave a rating and review. And until next time, stay irresistible.